Hi, folks. This is Diane Canals. I want to talk to you tonight about literacy rates. Literacy means how well you can read and understand the English language. And yes, it's important because you need to know how to express yourself, how to express your feelings, how to express how you feel. Your doctors need to know that. Your family needs to know how you're feeling, and things like that. So, what I want to do is this. I know that the literacy rate in Alabama, and I know you've been hearing a lot about Alabama in the last couple of weeks, and probably more shortly. Their literacy rate is really low. Now, the lowest literacy rate, I can't even say it, is in Alabama. California is another state that it's really low in, and I know you wouldn't expect that. And New York doesn't do too well either when it comes right down to it. So when you think about electing a president, you need to think about how literate they are, how well they can read, and how well they can understand what's going on around them with their businesses and their other things that are going on. You know, how effective are they? Do they really pay attention to the facts of things? And, you know, we know a couple of public politicians who some have great literacy and others are kind of illiterate. I hate to say it that way, but they're kind of illiterate as far as facts go and doing the right things. So, you know, I want you to think about that when you actually go to vote for our presidential election. Think about the people who you have confidence in, who will take our country to a better level of literacy and better jobs and living a better life. Because, you know, that's what we're all here to do. We're all here to live a better life if we can. And because that's important. You need to know how to read and how to figure things out. You know, what the facts really are. And, you know, there are people who don't have the experience that Joseph Biden has, President Joseph Biden, excuse me. But he has been in politics, I think, all his life. And he is well known for doing the right things and for doing a good job, and an effective good job. Whereas Donald Trump is just the opposite. He's known for not doing a good job. He's known for lying. He's known for exaggerating and doing a lot of bad business deals. Sorry, that's the way it comes out when it comes right down to it. Who's going to be more effective and who isn't, who or can't be. So, the literacy facts and figures have to do, like I said, with how well you understand what you have read. And there's nothing saying that you can't read a little more and ask questions of other people who you know a little more than what you do, so that you can get the correct information. That's how we all learn. You know, when you go to school, your teachers are there because they have the information that they want to give you so that you can become a better student and you can be smarter in the long run and have a better life and have better life skills. A lot of schools don't give financial literacy. And when I say financial literacy, what I'm talking about is, you have to know how to pay your bills. You have to know that you're making enough money that you can pay your bills once you're out of school, and looking for a place to live that you can afford to pay for. And a lot of people, even as grown-ups, they have a tough time doing that because maybe they were not taught that when they were younger. Depends on your parents and how much your parents know about that. And, you know, you can still go to them even when you're grown and say, Mom, Dad, how do you feel about that? What do you think? There's nothing wrong with asking them a question like that. Don't be afraid to ask questions, even when you're grown. Because how are you going to learn if there's nobody else around you besides your parents to teach you things like that? One of the best things you can do to learn more is to go to your local library. Now, I talked about the library a lot in the last couple of weeks, I know, but they're one of the best resources anybody could ever have because it's free books. You keep them out for 30 days or whatever the time is that you want to read it, and then maybe you want to discuss some of the things that you've read in there. That's a good thing because that shows that you are interested to better yourself and your own family when you grow up enough to make a decision to get married and to possibly have a family. But that takes a long time. And I'll repeat this little fact again. As far as maturity and your personal maturity goes, a man's brain totally matures when he is approximately 25 years old, not before then. A girl's brain matures when she's 23. So yes, you could say that the girls are usually more mature than the boys. So that gives you a big hint right there that as you get older, you might want to look for the girl that's a couple years younger than you and realize that she may be smarter than you are, and you might be really good at getting to know her and learning more from her. There's nothing wrong with that. Many of our teachers are women who are smart, and that's what they did. They went to school, they took the classes, and if you have to take classes to be smarter, do it. There's lots of free classes about many things. So don't sell yourself short and say, oh, I can't do that. Well, yes, you can do that. You certainly can. There are women who are in their 90s right now who actually learned how to pilot an airplane. Jet fighters, they learned how to fly. And you know what? They're black women too. They're not white women. They're black women who did that years before most white women even thought about doing something like that. Because they were given the skills when they were younger, either by their granddaddies or their daddies and mothers and grandmothers, to say nobody's going to hold me back but me. So they went and they learned, and they learned what they wanted to learn, and that's how come they got to be jet pilots and, brilliant teachers, doctors, and Indian chiefs. You laugh at that, but, somebody had to teach the Indians how to be Indian chiefs. So they learned from their elders. So don't let your feelings of inadequacy or you're not enough, don't let those feelings take you over. Because if you've got breath left in you, then you've got mind left in you to study things, to learn more, and to be able to do more for yourself and your families. So don't give up just because you get to be 40 or 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Don't give up. There are still many people working, doing things that they love, that maybe they turned a hobby into a career. You know, maybe you liked to fly when you were a youngster and you got in an airplane a couple times and you really loved it and you decided, I think I'll become an airline pilot. Be my guest. Maybe you decided you wanted to be a chiropractor. Take the training. Get the training. Be my guest. You know, maybe you want to be a ballerina or a professional dancer on Broadway. Take the classes. Be my guest. You notice the Oscars that we had the other night? Was it Saturday night? They had a fellow on there who was from Ukraine. And you know about the war in Ukraine that Putin started. And Netanyahu has carried it on to get back at the Russians for starting it. These guys, Putin and Netanyahu, when they were younger, they had dreams of being in the service. Putin wanted to be a dictator. Well, he's a dictator now. And, you know, the rest is history. But if you find something that you're really crazy about, that you want to do, or your grandson, or your sons or daughters, help them find out more information, because their literacy skills and your literacy skills can build and build and build, because then you're learning something new too. You're helping them and you're learning yourself, which makes you more literate, not illiterate. Illiterate means you can't read and you don't know things. If you are literate, it means that you do know how to read. You do know how to do different things, and you will ask questions to get the answers that you're looking for. So don't give up on yourself if you've had a couple of bad years. You know what? Everybody has a couple of bad years once in a while. It takes someone who cares for you and loves you and has patience with you to help you take those steps forward, to make you a better person, to make you say, well, even though you've been saying, I can't, maybe you need to start saying, maybe I can, and yes, I will. So there are things that you can't imagine that we're going to be learning in the next 10 years or so about space, about our environment, about cooking. You know what? Your mother and your aunts and uncles and your grandparents were probably pretty good cooks, or you wouldn't be where you are today. I know you might think that's funny and you might not. But if you're not feeling good and you've been sick for a couple of years, maybe you need to learn how to cook better to actually feel better. Because it only takes a couple of months once you're doing something to learn how to do it well enough to help your body heal more by eating better foods. Less fried foods, more baked foods, using more beans like black beans that you get out of the fields, when you're a farmer. Lima beans. There are all kinds of beans that you can use. Kidney beans for stews and things like that to make your diet better. It only takes doing it like maybe 3 times and you pretty much got it down. And then you can start experimenting a little bit. You can go to the library and you can get um, recipes out of some of the books there, or learning how to cook old time. Or you can look at books that are called paleo, Paleo. It's a new way of cooking things that we haven't done here in the United States very much, except for the last probably 5 years. But it lists things that you can cook that are more natural. So the more natural foods you eat, the better off your body's going to feel. And the longer you will live, and the better you will live. Like I said, turn illiteracy into literacy of learning. So that, folks, is pretty much what I wanted to tell you tonight. And I want you to really think about that. You can also become more literate by doing crosswords and learning new words, playing Scrabble. My kids and I still play Scrabble a couple times a year because we like words. We like to learn new words. And it's fun. So think about all those things that'll make you smarter. Go to the library on Saturdays and read some of the newer magazines that are out. That way you don't have to pay for them at the grocery store. Sorry for saying that, but it's true. And at your local library, they will have classes on different things. So don't forget to go to that local library and write down a list of 10 things that you want to learn more about. Could be 20. You could surprise yourself. Could be 20 things you wanted to learn about. And the librarians will show you where to find either magazines or books that have been written about those kind of things, depending on your reading level and how well you take to looking up words. If you're not a good speller, go on google.com. If you have an iPad or a tablet or a computer, go on Google and ask about the spellings of different words. They'll give it to you. Like in a heartbeat, they'll give you the right spelling. So that's all I have for you tonight, folks. I want you to have a good week. Enjoy the great weather we're having right now on the East Coast. I understand we're maybe getting some rain over the weekend, but next week should be even better than this week has been. So with that, I'm going to say good night, sleep tight, and learn a little more each day that you can. Thank you. Bye-bye.